In the 1940s, a walk down bustling 25th Street here in Ogden would draw your ear to the swinging jazz and blues music of the time. Prominent on the scene, Joe McQueen, a young tenor sax player from Oklahoma who would soon become the first African American in Utah to have his own racially integrated band. He's known as Utah's King of Jazz.
That's one of the things that it is with me. I have some kind of ability. I can play just about any tune and make it swing, and that has a tendency to make the people feel it, I guess. I remember we got here December the 7th, 1945, on the bus. We were playing down 25th Street, about a block and a half from where we got off the bus. And the reason why we came here was to play music. We were supposed to play 2 weeks, and I've been here almost 72 years, so.
He came through on a gig on a snowy day without a coat, as he likes to say, with his wife, had no idea what he got himself into, and somehow he fell in love with this place, decided to put a root down, and grew a pretty big tree, really.
It wasn't very long after I got to Ogden that I met Annabelle and Billy Weekly. They married in 1947 on Thelma and I's anniversary. Annabelle was one of as good of people that you want to meet, and had a heart as big as this building, always doing things for people.
In the era of segregation, Annabelle and Billy Weekly set up the only restaurant open to blacks in Ogden, Utah. The Redcoats and the porters and waiters working for Ogden's nearby Union Pacific Railroad were frequent patrons. Joe McQueen proposed the idea of opening a lounge and jazz club in the restaurant's basement. The new hotspot on 25th Street would become known as the Porters and Waiters Club. And by the late 1940s, whites and blacks had access to live jazz music of the time.
Well, I played down there for a good long time, and a lot of other different bands and different musicians come down there. And it was a most popular place down on 25th Street. You can bet your bottom dollar about that.
I've heard Joe tell me stories of playing with Ray Charles, Duke Ellington, Charlie Bird Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Count Basie. Count Basie came through town and met Joe over at someone's house on 28th. And Count Basie just kept looking at Joe, and he's like, "Man, you look like Herschel Evans." Herschel Evans wrote Count Basie's first #1 hit, 1 O'Clock Jump, and Joe was like, Herschel Evans was my cousin. Herschel Evans was the one that taught Joe to play saxophone.
When we first came here, the war was over, but it had just gotten over. They had troop trains, all in different branches of service, and all of them were here. And they'd be down on 25th Street, and boy, sometimes we was playing it was a mess down there. Drunk fighting and everything like this. They had mostly all those hotels above 25th Street were brothels. But 25th Street is tame. Oh man, 25th Street is tame now. No comparison to the way it used to be. I had a guy here when I first came to Ogden. There used to be a guy here named Shorty Smith, Shorty Ross. And he came down, he had guts enough to come down to the place where we were playing and told that guy down there we couldn't play down there because he didn't have no black musicians here and there wasn't going to be none here. The police told him, said, "Well, there ain't nothing you can do about that. These guys can play here and you can't stop them." And so after that, every time I got a chance, I'd take every job I thought he had, I could get that I could take, I'd take them.
Joe saw his instrument as a way that he could break down racial barriers.
You know, I don't know what it is, but musicians, they don't give a damn whether you purple, blue, green, or whatever you are. If you play a horn or play a guitar or anything you can play, and musicians get together and have more fun than anybody doing just about anything else. These guys I got in the band right now, I'm gonna tell you really, I like playing with these guys better than any band that I ever played with because we got things down. We got them down good. You have any idea how good I feel when I'm playing music? Well, I love it. Sometimes I have told my wife, I sure don't feel like going, but I'm going. Come back home, I feel all right. I done had a good time. You might hit me. And those kids, when they come up on to shake my hand, take pictures, I never refuse any of them. That's not the way I am. I think, well, if they want that, well, I'm in for it.
Joe's horn really belongs to a larger community, in part because he plays in and for so many events.
Weddings and birthday parties and community openings and stuff, but he's not just a saxophone player. He is always doing something for other people on some level.
Here's another thing, man. I learned years and years ago, and Martin Luther King had a saying. For me, I take love because hate is too big a goddamn burden to bear. And I love people and I treat people nice and I get treated nice. I try to do good in this life and my grandmother taught me that. Try to do good all the time, son, and you'll do a lot better in this world if you just try to do evil. Good will help you, but evil won't. So, that's the reason why I say I love my grandmother, man, because she was a big influence in my life and the way that I've lived it. I talked to my grandmother. I told my grandmother, I said, I think I'm gonna marry Thelma. And she said, well, do you think you can take good care of her? Yes, ma'am. Well, you make sure of that. So we got married. You know, I'm right now, I'm playing music. I'm still making money so I can help take care of us, not me, us. All the good things that has happened to me in my life is because of the good Lord. I don't go to sleep no night that I don't thank the good Lord for what blessings I've gotten.
This is Utah is made possible in part by the George S. and Dolores Story Eccles Foundation, the Utah Office of Tourism, the Lawrence T. and Janet T. D. Foundation, and the contributing members of KUED. Thank you.